The International Energy Agency, IEA, has reported that Western sanctions on Russia have led to the country finding new oil markets. A survey has shown that China, India, and Türkiye have increased their imports to partially offset a decline in Russian crude shipments to the EU. Despite the embargo on Russian seaborne crude imposed in December, Russian oil exports reached an all-time high last month, jumping by 300,000 barrels per day, BPD, compared to the previous month, totaling 8.2 million barrels of oil per day. The IEA confirmed that product exports are holding steady. Shipments of petroleum products remained unchanged last month, amounting to 3.1 million barrels of oil per day, prior to the Western embargo on Russian refined oil, which started alongside a price cap on February 5. The EU and G7 nations have placed a price ceiling on Russian petroleum products. Diesel, jet fuel, and gasoline have a limit of $100 per barrel, while other oil products that trade below the crude price have a cap of $45 per barrel. Fuel exports priced above these limits are unable to receive insurance and shipping services from Western companies. The IEA estimated that Russian oil exports to the EU were down two-thirds from pre-conflict levels at 1.3 million barrels of oil per day. However, the agency noted that Russian crude flows to China rose by 300,000 barrels of oil per day to 2.1 million barrels of oil per day in January, their highest level on record, as a result of the price cap mechanism. Russia has rerouted its supplies, with India and China becoming top buyers of its crude. The report stated, Moscow, for now, has successfully rerouted shipments of crude to Asia, and the G7 price cap on crude oil appears to be helping to keep the barrels flowing. The head of the IEA's Oil Industry and Markets Division, Toril Bassoni, told CNBC on Wednesday that Russian oil production and exports have held up much better than expected in recent months. Bassoni added, the price cap on crude oil that came in December has allowed the rerouting of a lot of the crude that previously went to Europe to new markets in Asia, and for that trade to use EU maritime services. And that helped facilitate some of the reallocation of trade. The IEA disclosed that China, India, and Türkiye have boosted purchases to offset the 400,000 barrels of oil per day fall in Russian crude exports to Europe in January. The Druzhba pipeline to Hungary and Bulgaria, both of which are exempt from the EU embargo, still transports some Russian oil to Europe.